Anybody you know ever eat ashes? I'm saying of the dead. Sitting around eating some ashes of the dead. There's all type of people that like to do all type of things. The world, the variety of people. Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two, combine them, make them into one. Yeah. So, eating ashes. How does that sort of thing play out? As in, for breakfast or for lunch or dinner and all the rest. A Deborah Pearson. She, in fact, must be a misfit as well. The signs are telling with that. Ashes of the dead. Some people might call that freaky. I'm saying normal people would call that sort of thing freaky. I myself possibly would not be interested in doing that, eating ashes, as I have no interest. I'll just, if there's an issue, go for vitamins or something like that. And yet people that sit and they grieve and don't know how to deal taking their loved one being gone. Some people go out of their mind with that. I said that before too. And so they do different things to relieve the grief. You know, people that a lot of times you hear stories of people being known to smoke weed of loved ones, I'm saying. So back in 2017, this is in fact a old story, but to refresh is to make it new all over again, and yet not specifically. It's just a recycle with that. Hell, life itself is a life cycle, recycle, right? Back in 2017, the individual that I'm speaking on wanted to, in fact, and she did eat her mother's ashes for Christmas. I just thought I'd bring this story back up, seeming this around the holidays, not holidays, right? The ashes, because see, ashes is usually made out of cremation process, as in the breaking down the bones, when that is in fact when you got the oven process with that sort of thing, and everything is powdery, right? It's to say, is when you're eating it, does that sort of thing go down quickly or slowly? And you're chewing on it. The ciphering process of that. Deborah Pearson, 41 years old, paid tribute to her mother by seasoning her dinner with her mother's ashes and then eating them. She sprinkled the ashes of her mother, Doreen Brown, on some turkey and dessert and proceeded to eat the ashes. I paused, I know, because I'm trying to figure out if I was to consider something like that, how is it going to taste on the way down? I just said that. I might, in fact, have to have some hot sauce or something, and yet for me to consider that it's a dead body is to say maybe that's a no-go. That's cannibalism. That's like a new age, new form of cannibalism, and yet it's burnt and dry, right? What would you name that? People that eat dead bodies that is no longer fleshly pieces and yet it's in powder form. There has to be a name put to that, because over time, and I'm sure it has already happened, this is more than likely not new. We don't ever know what people are doing with their cremation. Yes, formula packs with that, and yet it's not liquid, right? But I'm just saying, right? It's powder, right? No one knows what people are doing with the remains of loved ones, and that where's altered in powder form. Trust and believe this is not the very first time this sort of thing has went down. Deborah Pearson, couldn't contain her grieving, and I stated that in the opening how some people couldn't contain her grieving after her mother died, because their bond was very strong and it could never be broken, and not even in death. That is what Miss Pearson expressed. And that has to be a true statement, because to take it that far, even in ashes and the consumption of that, right? It's to say, yeah, the bond is never broken, as in she wanted to stomach even the bond with that. So she too still grieves over her mother, and which died back in 1996 on the same. Her mother died. See, this too, the behavioral science, psychology, and even sociology can point in the direction of this too. This too is why people might be considered to take things too far too, because she was still grieving and even still is her mother's death. That too can be said because also she lost her son on the very same day. She lost her mother and her son on the same day, and yet it was in different years. The time frame I'm saying. Same date and yet different year in which both of them died. So that's to say that the grieving was there double time, and it is still today. Pearson states she just one day felt an urge to eat her mother's ashes. Her fiance supported her through eating the ashes. Of course, he in fact remained anonymous. He supports her and yet wants to remain anonymous. That's interesting, right? You will question, why don't he want himself to be known out there in affiliation with her despite him supporting her? That's an interesting question. It is. So the ashes, when it comes to consuming the ashes and the taste with that sort of thing, she gave a description on how she felt. Not how she felt, how the ashes in fact felt within her mouth. She gave a description. She said once everything was in her mouth, not all the way completely, but she licked her fingers and then dipped the fingers into the powder, placed them into her mouth, and all taste completely chalky as well as salty, and yet was fully comforted. It was fully comforting to her to do that. Did you get that? The description she laid out in the format. She said, I licked my fingers, dipped it into the powder, put them into her mouth, and what was there was in fact chalky, as in the taste of the remains, cremated remains of her mother. Chalky and salty and yet comforting. The comforting must come from her knowing that her mother is now close to her, because now her mother has been consumed within. More people probably hear about that and be doing more of that, yeah, and be coming up with all type of trending topics with that sort of thing, as in it'll be something new or something. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what to, because see, this story is not like the other man's story, such as the grandfather in relation to a Christian Ponce Martinez that murdered the grandfather. When I said he dismembered him, that story is not like this. The dismembering of somebody else's grandfather and you're not blood relatives, right? It's to say you fully took advantage of a life that's been lost at your own hands, right? And I said, good thing he didn't eat that man. And I'm saying that because that wasn't his grandfather, but even if it was, right? But with this individual, this woman, the behavioral science up underneath that is different. Because I'm seeing grieving there in the process. That was her mother that gave birth to her. The bond is strong with that, right? I'm seeing the grieving process with that. But she didn't lose just her mother, but also her son on the same day. That's devastating in itself, because for every anniversary that it comes around, the two deaths, losing both of them, the anniversary that plays year in, year out, year in and year out every year. That's not to say grieving has been taken too far, not that. Some people don't, the dealing with that on a psychological level, right? I guess everybody does things in their own way. That's all I can say. I can't really put her down on that, because there could be some more issues up underneath that. It has to with the grieving, for her to want to eat the ashes. And yet with her eating the ashes like that, I can't really even judge that and say that that's bad. She didn't dismember her mother, right? She just lost her, right? Because people sit and they smoke weed, and I said that already. They smoke weed. I'm trying to look at this situation in this picture in a non-judgmental way. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to look at it as in a non-judgmental way, to say, because she hasn't brutally killed anybody, but she wants to be close to the one that gave birth to her. So yeah, people in fact do smoke weed and put ashes in their weed. So I'll leave that to be that. So leave me a comment in the comment section, dear viewer. Tell me what you think about that. It's interesting. I'm thinking and creative on her end to do that sort of thing. I'll leave that as it is. May her mother rest in peace with that. So the ID logo in fact sits in the far left corner. Live now, the perfect murder. Reason why I said I let that sit as it is, because you don't know how she's hurting. I'm saying, see, I can have respect for even that, even if it's however, with her eating the stuff, trying to be non-judgmental with that, because the pain in that, I'm saying, I'll let it go. So shouts out to Paula. People Magazine investigates. There's all type of shows which await you. We are in fact on investigationdiscovery.com. That's where we're at. If you're asking, to find is to make your way back here to check out some shows that you more likely love or will come to love, possibly. Unlocked episodes. To gain a audio visual preview is to click the play button. Body Cam season 1 episode 0, expiring in 12 days. Gypsy Revenge season 1 episode 1. There are all type of formula, all type. I should make a video. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Of real life. I be wanting to see and hear and know about some real life stuff. I'm saying outside of anything professional, and just everyday stuff of how people don't always feel the greatest in life. You can have good opportunities and things and have days where you don't feel the greatest. I really want to know about stuff like that. ID Go original series. Because not everybody tells when they don't feel the greatest. Maybe I should do a video like that. One of my next videos. Support to Save the Children's hurricane relief efforts. You can do that. Donate. To do that is to click here, donate here. Crime Feed News. Crime Feed with Granny. To gain access to Crime Feed News is to, yes, go on the outside. By clicking here, you would in fact be directed on the outside to the Crime Feed. Crimefeed.com. To receive a newsletter is to type your email address in and click next, and that is in fact what you will receive, is a newsletter from Team Investigation Discovery. I should do a video about that. About what I was saying, how sometimes in life you don't always feel the greatest. That's with anything in life. That's just real life recognition with that. Because see, real people keep it real all time of the day. You know, sometimes I don't feel the greatest. Sometimes I don't feel so hot in the mouth. I'll leave that for another day. So yeah, comment as you will, and I will holler back. Love to you with that sort of thing. And I'm gone.